We got ourselves team 1. Gonna do a quick swap out. We got Kalosis on this team with the Gromash X Acid here as an arms warrior joining the duels on a Proto-Jake. And the best one possible. We also got ourselves Milord Pala with Iki and Tiesh. And looks like Milord Pala going up first versus Dior. Are we having that rematch? Pala versus Paladin? Just a perfect rematch because I feel like Milord Pala last time just didn't press the bubble. Wings coming out for the both of them. Trick is going to use bubble for Dior. Using the bubble right now. Is he just trying to one-shot Milord Pala? Is going to go for big damage. Big holy power. Milord Pala actually going to proc down so hard. Better use the bubble when next time you get a chance. Is going to go for Ward of Glory's massive healing for it. Dior has himself Seraphim though. Yeah, this is big ace in a hole. Massive healing for him as well. Shield of Vengeance up. And Milord Pala does still hold on to a bubble that is his ace in a hole. Dior does have Blessing of Protection still. It is going to help a little bit, but not as much as a bubble since some of the holy power damage does go through Blessing of Protection. Hodge onto Dior. Does not have a trinket for this. Hodge into Milord Pala. Trying to see if he could turn it around maybe damage-wise, or is he going to go for mostly healing? Looks like he's going to go stabilize a little bit, but mostly go for the damage. And Milord Pala so far is actually just so far ahead in health. And Dior is a little bit behind, so it might be really bad for him in the future. Is continuing to use Word of Glory. Seraphim play could be huge. Next time you get Seraphim, you could maybe make a big push to get some kind of big cooldowns in Milord Pala. Hodge cannot really do much about it. Could Milord Pala just end it right here? Does Dior have an ace in a hole? Hodge into Milord Pala. Pala can't do much about it. Dior getting a massive heal back. And I think he got a proc from the toll. No, actually it didn't look like it. Maybe. I think the first one he used with wings and everything, that was a proc. This one, not as much. Big hammer hanging over Dior's head. Does have wings back up. Might to go for a lot of self heals. Is not in a good spot right now. Does he use Blessing of Protection here? Hodge by Milord Pala. I think he has him here in the end. Dior does end up getting taken down. Milord Pala did use quite a bit of damage there. And it looked like Dior got his wings back up earlier. Does he have like short wings? Potentially? Oh no, he must have gotten a proc from Renato Talon. Chicago going to be up next as Elemental Shaman versus Milord Pala. Throwing out Judgment, just getting the procs rolling over the bat. Word of Glory is nuts. Yeah, I think it's still pretty nutty. But it did look like these guys just weren't able to... Because I remember Paladins used to have like 10-minute duels, 15-minute duels with Word of Glory. Maybe the 20% nerf did something here. I think it all depends whether they crit or not, right? With Word of Glory. Especially at lower health. Chicago and Milord Pala just bouncing against one another. Meteor coming down onto Milord Pala. Does have a chicken for the lasso. Chicago is going to get the Earth Shield back up and running. Just continue to bounce around. Hodge and Chicago could go for a knockback onto Milord Pala. That's still big procs for Milord. Does get the nice toll proc. There's going to be Chicago with that movement speed, dropping down the Sky Fury Totem. And that could be massive damage if he can somehow connect with Milord Pala. The Paladin is avoiding the Shaman as best as he can, even though he has wings up. He just needs to wait out the Stormkeeper just a hair. He is giving that Shaman as much respect in this duel as possible. Light Lasso does catch Milord Pala kind of low. That's actually going to take quite a bit of damage. Not looking to get interrupted in the face of a Shaman though. Hodge as Chicago goes for a Primordial Bolt. If they have maybe a big Lava Burst setup, looks like Milord Pala is actually caught up on full health, so you should be okay. Sun Totem coming on to Milord Pala is going to take full damage. Decent Lava Burst proc, but not enough to really get Milord Pala into that bad situation. Does go for a Sky Fury right after. Lava Bursts are doing quite a bit of damage. That's a nice hit with the Earth Shock. But a Shield of Vengeance should have Milord Pala covered for a little bit. Is Chicago going to go for a knockback? Try to go for a knockback, but it was actually just a little too late. Milord Pala was on the upward slope. Didn't really go far. Hammer hanging over Chicago's head could be really bad for them right now. That's going to be a lot of damage. Massive hammer does get the Earth Elemental rolling with the wall, but it comes in just a tad too late. The hammer damage has been stacked up, and Milord Pala does end up taking him out. With Ambush Crit going to be up next. Rogue trying to see if he can get himself a better positional with Milord Pala going for a cheap shot opener. That's going to be a Blessing of Protection immediately by the Paladin. And Ambush Crit going for a Shadowy Duel with him. Wait, with these Shadowy Duels, looks like the Pala can still see you. I think it's only with Bubble do you not see each other. But with Bop, I think he still sees you. And now it's interesting. You can Shadowy Duel a Bop. Shadow Blade's available for Ambush Crit. Is it going to go for a setup? Did vanish for the crit damage. Milord Pala is recovering a lot of health. Does bail away from the Rogue. Wings are up. Generating Holy Power while not trying to let the Rogue touch him constantly. And that's going to be Ward of Glory spam while the Rogue's health is going down, down, down little by little. Trinket out of Milord Pala. Ambush Crit does not have a vanish for this one. Does have evasion. Trying to avoid the Paladin damage as best as he can. He himself a good setup with Shadow Dance, but he doesn't even have Shadow Dance for a while. Hodge, does he have a trinket? He does not. I think my Lord Pala has him. Good proc with the toll, and the hammer comes down. Actually, a couple different hammers came down. The Judgment Hammer, the big hammer of execution, as well as the final verdict hammer. That was actually just a lot of damage all at once. He got the nice proc with the Pale Toll, man. Perfect toll proc that you needed right there. And we're only at the 5-minute duel where the Dampanic finally is setting in. And PG is going to be up next. Looks like he wants to go for a bit of an honor duel, or maybe at least juke it out. Lord Pala does hit him with a roar. He was going to get the roar out of stealth anyway. And Peachy is going to be able to catch up on a little bit of that Star Surge power. Big damage coming out from Peachy. Incarnation available. Milord does have Shield of Vengeance. Trying to see if he can bail away from Peachy. Can he still reach him with Star Surges? Peachy is looking like he's just going to make sure dots are rolling into Milord Pala. Maybe those dots will do enough damage to bust through that Shield of Vengeance by themselves. As Peachy's trying to find himself a better angle. Is going to throw the Swarm at Milord Pala. It's going to do quite a bit of dot damage. But he still has Flash of Lights. It is starting to, like, it's only 5% dampening, so the healing is going to start to get lower and lower as the time goes on. Hodge and Peachy does trick it out of it immediately. Peachy going in for some damage of his own. Star Surge is back-to-back. Thorns available. Milord Pala does get line of sight away from Peachy. Is actually going to get back in there, though. No, actually, Thorns is still up. Is he going to go for a buff, maybe? Thorns are down. Bashes to Milord Pala. Does he get a knockback? I don't think Peachy has a knockback at the moment. Trying to maintain the dots on him as best as possible. Bear form right after. Trying to get the bleeds rolling with bear form. And then goes the frenzied regen. I believe he has maybe one more charge of that for a while. Knock back onto Milord Pala. Just trying to keep him at bay. Trying to kite him as best as possible. Milord Pala probably has a hammer of justice ready to go. Peachy, it looks like he has Bark Skin available. Looks like renewal available and everything. Bear form to tank up some of the damage from Milord Pala until Peachy can exchange the swarm. It looked like he double swarmed. Maybe there's just an effect. Maybe he had a swarm transfer and you refreshed it. That also could be it. Peachy in Boomy form could be big damage out of Milord Pala. Doesn't go for the interrupt. Starfires are going through, allowing Peachy, almost allowing him to get into an eclipse right now. Milord Pala got plenty of damage in there. Wings available. Barkskin is the only thing keeping Peachy alive. Dust pop in a bear form with frenzied regen. I don't know if he has Typhoon or not to knock Milord Pala down with those wings. Does roar him for a second. Trying to go for a clone. Rebuke. Does try to go for a rebuke, doesn't get the rebuke though, so if Peachy wants to go for a cyclone right now, it would be perfect for him. Does have Stars Fall rolling. I wonder if Starfall adds into the damage of the swarm, because it's not technically a dot, but it kind of treats it like a dot. Hodge onto Peachy, doesn't get the proper knockoff in Milord Pala. Cyclone still goes through, trinkets out of it immediately, and Peachy is under a lot of pressure again. Swarm is up. Does he have a self heal? If he has Frenzy Regen with a swarm, that's going to be actually a huge heal over time, as the swarm does increase the dots as well as the healing over time effects on allies or enemies. Beneficial effect for allies, the bad one for enemies. As Peachy goes in for a roar, just try to leap away. Does he get maybe a restyle? He might need one, because this has been kind of tough against the Paladin. Milord Pala is still holding on to a bubble. Does have wings coming up in 57 seconds. It looks like Peachy is going to get himself a bit of a reset back there. Trying to maintain the dots on the Milord Pala. The earlier the pressure he can get, the better. Popping the bear form, expecting the hammer of justice, and there goes the Hodge. As Milord Pala is going to activate a trinket, trying to go for a bit of damage himself with the hammer. The bell does not get the proc he needed, but still gives him a bit of damage and a bit of resources. And that's going to be the hammer, not doing too much damage. Thorns available for Peachy. Pretty sure the Thorns is a damage over time, so I'm pretty sure that will be amplified by the Swarm if Peachy gets the Swarm up and running. Looks like the Swarm comes back, so that's going to be a pretty nice defensive for him for now. Incarnation back up and running. Does Milord Pala use Bubble here? But does he even need to, really? The Word of Glories looks like keeping him alive with 21% dampening. Getting those massive crits is going to go for a Cyclone onto Milord Pala. As Peachy trying to get himself some resources, might be able to go for back-to-back Star Surges here. Hodge onto Peachy, has a trigger for it. Another Star Surge, knocking Milord Pala back. More damage coming out, more resources generated, but Milord Pala does create some line of sight. Peachy looking to use that mobility to maybe catch back up on top of Milord Pala, but looks like the Peachy is just out of mobility for the time being. Roar into Milord Pala for a second, trying to go for a clone. Does get a rebuke out of him. Could free cast a Cyclone in his face, but Pala got wings though, so that could be a minute Hodge available very, very soon. Does go for another vial from the Seaward. The vial is going to give him a heal. It's not going to remove any of the debuffs that Peachy applies, but at least it's going to be a bit of a heal for him. Trying to go for a Cyclone onto Milord Pala, getting caught out in bear and boomy form. Barkskin available. Does he get himself a big heal? Frenzied Regen activating from a conduit for Peachy. Trying to go for another one, knocking Pala back, but the final hammer rolls in, and Demonic Rogue is the last one left. Rolling up. Swapping the wrong person. Rolling up. as an Outlaw again. Getting caught in the Consecration, super unfortunate. Kidney Shot comes out, but it's actually super Giga DR'd. That's going to be massive damage to the Rogue, taking big hits off the bat. Evasion available, but the Hodge is going to nullify the evasion. Chickens out of it, and looks like Miller Pallet is going to dip under him. The Rogue is chasing after him, goes in for a Blade Rush. But does he have the damage here? He needs himself a proper Kidney Shot. I think that's all he needs, a proper Kidney Shot. Force it. Well, actually, Miller Pallet is going to be coming back with a lot of defenses very, very soon. So for the Rogue, it's going to be kind of a hard-fought game. Trinket into a Wake of Ashes. Just the global Awake was enough to take the Rogue out. That's just how much damage Paladins do. I do like the fact that he's healing is less than his damage. I think maybe Blizzard did a okay job with a Word of Glory nerf, where it's like, okay, well, at least they do more damage than healing. But it's still a lot of healing. That is still a lot of healing. And the damage he puts out is just... Maybe that's what Paladins are going to start doing. It's like, you know what?